So I've been playing around with an icon for my app. I like the simplicity of the current one, but I think we could use a nicer, more unique look. This new concept I'm trying out makes the logo look like it was carved on a stone, which I think looks very sleek and minimalist. I got pretty far using Figma alone, but after some advice from my designer friend, I decided to open an app I haven't used in years, Photoshop. Now, I don't really know how I ended up with this image of a rabbit on a field, but Adobe wanted me to try out their AI features, and I was really curious about it myself. So after prompting a little bit, I managed to show a few spaceship options in this field, and it looks pretty cool. I didn't really give that many details, so it was pretty stereotypical in terms of the art treatment, but I can see how with more time I can end up with something really cool. Alright, so back to the main quest. First thing I did was to set up my workbench. So I copy pasted a screenshot of what I did in Figma, just as a reference, and then I placed the raw shape next to it. I honestly forgot how different it is to import stuff into Photoshop, and I clearly forgot how to resize stuff proportionally. What I first wanted to do was to replicate what I had in Photoshop. So I played with the inner shadows, which is how I created this effect originally, just so that I familiarize myself with this process but in a different tool. I think this looks more or less like what I had, although the shadows do look a little bit more natural, and there seems to be more options to control here, so I'll be looking out for those. I then of course realized that there was a completely dedicated way to replicate this effect in Photoshop. By default it doesn't look like what I want, but after carefully configuring using my vast knowledge of the tool, I got to a pretty good result, certainly more natural looking. Now they may seem similar at first, but if you look closely, you'll notice that the highlights, that is, the bottom part with the white shadow, is more subtle and brighter, which gives it a more natural look. This is precisely the reason why I chose Photoshop in the first place. I wanted an extra level of detail at the raster level that Figma just can't replicate, as it is primarily a vector graphics tool. After getting a good result and playing with different variations, I landed on a slightly lighter, paper-like color temperature. All that was left was to see how it looks and feels next to different versions of my app for a final gut check. Now I still think I could make the logo look sharper from afar so it's easier to distinguish the shape, but I'm happy with this new direction. Next time you're looking for an extra polish at the pixel level, don't forget that you have other tools at your disposal, such as Photoshop, Pixelmator, Affinity Designer, and others.